Greetings from the Idiot Box. I'm Allison Lips. Today, Stacy Anastacia joins us. She is an improviser with comedy sports, a singer, and an actor. We are discussing Friends today. This is the one where we create the millionth podcast on the topic. Friends aired on NBC for 10 seasons, from September 22nd, 1994 to May 6th, 2004, as part of NBC's must-see TV lineup. Hey, Stacy, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing, girl?
I'm good. Probably
So
should have started with how you doing, but, missed
the moment
opportunity there.
passed. I totally, yeah. Aw. So, so what do you want to know about me and my silly pants and watching Friends every episode 45,000 times?
Yeah, I think we both have. I actually tried to watch some Friends in preparation for this, and I've had a really hard time watching it since Matthew Perry passed away.
Yes.
And also, it's not one of my favorite shows. It's one of those shows where I've seen a million times, and I'm like, I don't need to ever see this show again. I know it way too well.
Yeah.
And I don't find the plots hold up. I'm still trying to figure out why people are so obsessed with it.
People like Star Trek. I don't know. So,
I get Star Trek more.
Well, the cool thing I found about Friends, I watched it when it
Yes.
aired. I got my first apartment in 95. And I felt like I related to the characters. Since I've been watching it, like it's on TBS all the time.
It's on
And
Nick
it's
at
on
Night all the
HBO
time.
Max. Yeah, so you can watch it like whenever you want. But
Yes.
I find it comforting to watch it. To see Matthew Perry as a young, vivacious, like energetic, silly, sarcastic person. That he's even said
Yeah.
that there are like full-on seasons that he doesn't even remember
No.
participating in.
You can also see his weight fluctuation depending on how deep he was into his addiction at the time.
The world is rough.
Yeah, which is
But
probably
they'll
part of the
always be
reason.
there for you.
Yes.
When the rain starts to pour.
I'll be there for you. I've been there before. Okay.
Clap, 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 clap.
Yeah. That is probably one of my favorite theme songs of all time.
It is a lot of fun. I love that the Max app offers you to fast forward through the intro because I've seen it a billion times, right? So,
yeah.
And it was a hit single on the radio, even.
Yes, the Rembrandts.
Where'd they go? What are they up to?
Yeah, they had the one hit song, and that was kind of it. Have you seen the video for that?
Yes, it's very silly how they're all like dancing around with the band.
Yes, the Friends cast.
That's what
I think the lead singer was friends with someone who worked on Friends, and that was how we got that theme song. It originally was only supposed to be like the 30-second intro, and then they're like, oh, people like this. We need a song.
I used to know all the words to the second verse. Like, that's how dorky I am.
It's a good song.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's start from the beginning.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Where they were...
Go ahead.
Which is one of 2 episodes that don't start with the one where.
Right.
It's the pilot and then the last one. Which I'm going to allow the last one.
Right. And I feel like that's a nice way to bookend the series.
Yes.
The pilot, the last one. I just realized my phone is not on silent. So how do you want to start? You want to start in chronological order? Because I cannot do that. I have ADHD.
It's the first one is the one where Monica sleeps with someone who is significantly younger than her.
That's right.
And
right, he's a senior in high school.
And NBC was concerned that people would think that Monica was a slut because she is sleeping with someone in the first episode. Well, NBC
Um,
specifically. Like, they actually had focus groups watch the show, and the focus groups were totally fine with it.
well, that's the thing. You're in your 20s, you live on your own, you're in New York City, and nobody says anything about that guy who's a senior in high school who's sleeping with a woman who's got her own apartment. He's a
That is
slut
true.
too.
That is
Except he's
true.
not, because it was his first time.
Oh, I don't remember that part, but yes.
All right. That's all right.
Oh, they retroactively called the pilot the one where Monica gets a roommate.
Right. So, right. So this is when we find out that Ross is getting a divorce because
Yes.
Carol has other interests,
Mainly women.
the same interests that he has.
Yes.
Um,
And he just thought
he,
she was really cool.
right, right. Because one of the Thanksgiving episodes, he says she plays the golf and tennis. She plays for both teams. Um,
Yeah.
um. So also there was the original Carol didn't continue on for the rest of the series. So
Correct.
there was a woman who played Carol. And we don't see her again. Um,
Right. I can look that up and we can see who played Carol.
hey, what is hey, what a great gig that you got. What a shame that they didn't continue with you. Um,
Okay. The first one was Anita Barone, and the second one was Jane Sibbett.
yes. So Jane continued on.
But Anita apparently was in. Oh, she was offered the role of Rachel but turned it down.
What is wrong with you, girl?
I can't picture Rachel
I
as
mean,
anyone.
they did a great job hiring Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
She is phenomenal. I never watched the muddling through. I know that you can watch some. She was on that show for like a few episodes, and they decided on, I think it was on CBS
Okay.
during the time that they were trying to negotiate getting the Friends cast together. And I'm not sure if you have to find it on a BitTorrent or whatever. I haven't gone to seek it out. The show muddling through that Jennifer Aniston was on during all of the contract negotiations to get her on Friends, because CBS had decided
Right.
already that they weren't continuing on with, they weren't going to muddle through with muddling through.
Yeah, there were 10 episodes, one of which went unaired, and Jennifer Aniston almost missed out on Friends because of a show that ran from July to September in 1994 on CBS, which, I mean, she got lucky that that did not work.
Oh my, I feel like
I mean, they all got lucky because who could have foreseen a hit show like Friends that
exactly
was
like Matthew,
consistently on top of the ratings?
right, right. Matt LeBlanc, I remember from other like one-off roles that he had been on, Married with Children. He
Yes.
dated Kelly for an episode, and I don't remember the timeline, but he was in a Bon Jovi video, Miracle. Um, Miracle. And
And Courtney Cox is known for Dancing in the Dark with Bruce Springsteen.
Family Ties and
Yes.
a billion other things. Again, everybody in the cast is ridiculously talented,
Yes.
and Lisa Kudrow was in Cheers with dark hair.
Yes.
Of course, she was in Mad About You as Ursula, and I liked how they
Yes.
tied that all together. Um,
Yes, they did.
Matthew Perry, I remembered seeing in things, but I didn't remember like at the time. Of course, at the time, I don't remember like, oh, he's the guy from that thing. I was like, I think I've seen that guy before, and
He was in that weird show where we always see the clips about something about Muammar Gaddafi and predicting that. I think it's Second
I
Chance.
I don't remember that one. Yeah, but then he was. I think that there was a watching a bunch of the specials, right? So there's always been like, oh, before they were friends, they were blah 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 blah. And
Right.
I've consistently seen a clip of a show that I don't even know if it aired, but it was a futuristic airport, and he
So
worked
like
at the airport,
Wings, but in the
kind of, but it was
future.
like way in the future. Whereas you're wearing a suit without a lapel, and they're like, oh, that looks futuristic. How
Okay.
do Nobody thought that we'd be wearing Uggs and sweatpants to the supermarket
Or that Crocs
back,
would see a resurgence.
uh, mm. So
Not a
yeah,
fan.
2025 Bon Jovi shirts on a podcast.
But I mean, we are both in New Jersey, so just,
Yes,
you
that's
know,
true. So this is like the average, like in
New-
between sports, seasons wear.
yes.
Leopard print Bon Jovi shirt. We fit in. And if you don't, then you don't. Oh, whatever.
I remember being in a room where most of the people were from out of state, and a Bon Jovi song comes on, and if you're in a room full of New Jerseyans, everyone just starts screaming the lyrics off the top of their lungs.
Yeah. You stop talking when Bon Jovi comes on
Nothing.
the radio.
Just nothing. And I'm
They
just
just
like,
continued on with their conversation.
I
Like,
know. It was
how
offensive.
disrespectful. Yes. Yeah. And I also heard if you don't like Bruce Springsteen, somehow they know and then they charge you more for your car insurance.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Huge
I
Bruce
don't know if
Springsteen
that's
fan.
I listen. Even if you're not, just when you're reaching in your console for your stuff, just accidentally like fling out a Born in the USA CD or something.
There you
I don't
go.
even have I don't even have a CD player in my car. That's what? I doubt that's
I
true.
I mean, it's clearly not, but I don't think we needed to explain that to anyone,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
okay.
Ooh, this lady on a podcast one time said
In New Jersey.
they charge you extra. Can you what? Back to you know what? Let's just take the North
And the
Jersey
episode
coastline.
before this one's on The Sopranos. So,
Yeah. Again, let's take North Jersey coastline to the city and talk about
friends.
Bedford and Grove Street, where the Central Perk is located. Um,
Yes.
so the late 90s was a wild time.
Are you one of those people who like wondered like what are these people doing mid Wednesday? They always have the same spot, and
I
people who were like, way too obsessed with this show have discovered that there's always a reserved sign on their preferred
Yes,
spot.
somewhere in like the last I want to say it was season 8.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler's on the couch, on the orange couch, reading the
Yes.
newspaper, and somebody sits down in the green chair and like puts the laptop, puts a satchel on his lap and goes to reach in, and Chandler goes and just makes this no, 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 and the kid gets up and walks away. So he's got like
Yeah.
this whole area to himself. Um, and I don't know that that's even feasible in New York City, but of course, if the
No,
people who
it's
live in
not.
the apartments above always sit here,
Yeah.
I can see why that would be something. Also,
But it's also conveniently right in front of the camera.
yeah, where does that other door go to? Like the door on the other side of that green chair. There's like if you're looking at like Phoebe performs here, right?
Right.
And
There's
then
the
there's
door
a
everyone goes in
door.
and out of.
Not the street door, the other door
There's
on the
another.
other side of where so you got looking at looking at the windows, you got the entrance door,
Okay. Yes.
you got the window, right? Phoebe performs there,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a door.
And it's not an outside door.
No. And I've only seen Rachel use it once. I'm guessing storage.
Maybe it's where the bathrooms are.
No, the bathrooms are back behind the bar.
Oh,
That's how we know that Hums when he pees.
okay.
It's a thing. Whatever.
It could
Anyhow,
be storage because Rachel did work there at one point. But
Rachel
wouldn't,
worked there. Yeah. Joey worked there.
yeah, but wouldn't it, okay. The set
I'm
design
just
of this
listen,
is
I got
not
plot
how.
holes. I got plot hole city over here.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things when you analyze Friends that are really
Like, how did Ross
wrong.
not know that Chandler had a nubbin?
An
You were college
oven?
roommates.
An oven?
So he had like nubbin. He had a third nipple.
Oh, the nubbin, not an oven. Okay, I was like, how would.
I
Okay.
apologize. So listen, I get very excited and I talk too quickly and people have no idea what I'm saying.
So, yes, Chandler's third nipple. Maybe Chandler
The
was always
nubbin.
hiding it. It's not like Ross was watching him in the shower.
No, but like you come home from class and you I don't know.
It took my class the better part of 2 semesters to realize that our professor was missing a finger. So it's possible.
Oh my God, did you ever find out the story with that?
Yes.
Ugh. Well, at least you found out. I kind
Yeah.
of want to know. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
Salacious gossip.
Not
Um,
really. It was a accident with a machine during like wood shop class
oh,
or
that's
something like
terrible.
that. Yeah.
That's terrible. Oh, that's a shame. Well, Chandler lost a toe.
Okay. We're just missing body parts now.
Well, no, in real life, Matthew Perry's missing like a part of he was missing a part of his finger in real life.
Okay.
And there are times when you notice it, like when he has his hand on Phoebe's shoulder, like bah, 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 bah. But
Mm-hmm.
in the show, in one of the flashback scenes where they're having Thanksgiving at Monica and Ross's parents' house,
Yeah.
Monica's trying to be sexy with like a knife and like a towel and whatever.
Yeah.
And she drops a knife and it takes off a piece of Chandler's toe,
Ugh.
the tip of the pinky toe.
Yikes.
And that's all Monica's fault.
Good to know.
Well, I don't know if it's good to
I mean, clearly you watched the
know.
show.
So
So,
like here's the deal. So the first episode, Rachel comes
mm,
walking in from the rain in her wedding dress,
yes.
looking for Monica, who is supposedly like the bestie from high school who was not invited to the wedding.
Correct. There's a lot of issues with their relationship throughout the run of the show.
Right. So I feel like because they weren't tight at that time,
No.
and if I've lost track of people over the years, I'm probably not going to invite them to my wedding.
Right, but I'm also not looking for them afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, in the coffee shop.
Right. So she somehow knew
So,
where to find her also.
well, she said that she buzzed the apartment
Okay.
and nobody answered, so she came in looking
Oh,
for
right.
like,
And
does
she would
anybody know where
know.
she's at?
And she would have known that because it was Monica's grandmother's apartment. So if
Right.
they were really that close growing up, she would know the location.
Right. And your mother said you were here and you um
Yeah.
I I've watched it a few times. So I feel like that's so nutty. Also, she, if we're going to go in like what may have been chronological order, back in the episode where
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the names of the episodes. I can
It's
just tell you the
fine.
plot.
I mean, that's close enough to the episode title
Um,
anyway.
the episode that begins with Janice and the gang sitting on the couch, and she said, "Was there ever a
Okay.
time when you guys almost?" And that's kind of a flashback scene to when Rachel was with her pals and when Central Perk was a bar. And
Okay.
she's with her girls, and she said, I ordered a rum and diet Coke, which I don't think this is. And
Is this when like
um
Rachel's dressed super like snooty and preppy and like she's
big
wearing a
hair, and
blazer
then
to a bar that was later turned into a coffee shop
so
with her
yeah, and
friends who are equal? Like I think she's wearing red. One of her friends are wearing blue, and they're all
I think she
dressed
was wearing
similarly.
pink.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
same
And
family. It's been a while.
yeah, no, it's totally fine. I don't mean to correct you. I'm just like putting that
Right.
I'm trying to find the slideshow in my mind. In my
Yeah, I
mind.
totally. That's what I was trying to do. Also, it's this is
There's the
why
pool
I'm not in a
table.
rush to watch it.
Right.
When you can
Right.
remember the colors of the cast's clothing in specific scenes that do not revolve around the color of their clothing,
Right.
you might need
Right.
to take a step back.
She's with her pals in
Mm-hmm.
the um downstage
Yeah.
in the forefront.
Okay.
The pool table is just a little bit behind them. Chandler throws the cue ball after she says, I just want to grab the next guy I meet.
Yeah.
And so Chandler's like, oh, let me be that guy. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen. She ends up going with to to Joey's soap opera star apartment,
Okay.
and nothing happens because she hurls into the garbage can. And like that whole episode
Yeah.
cracks me up. Um Ross is trying to make out with Phoebe. His foot gets caught in the pool table pocket. Like
Yes.
like there's so many different intricate things about how that whole thing happens. And I'm going to go out there and say I think that the portrayal of Monica in the fat suit,
Mm-hmm.
I think she slays it. We're not laughing at her being funny. We're laughing because what she's doing as a regular person is funny. She just happens to be wearing a fat suit. And in that
Right.
episode, I think she's dating a doctor, and they're
Yeah.
gonna eat with their hands, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
And she gets it out with Chandler.
Right. And the fat suit's one of those things where they probably would not have put that in a show today.
That's right. That's right. Because there are several episodes, 3 or 4 episodes
Yeah.
where she
There's the
is
flashback to the prom,
mhm.
which
There's
again,
the
Rachel's there.
right, because they were tight in high school. And
Yeah.
nobody knows where Monica went to. Did she go to culinary school? Did she go to college? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Well, I mean, you can go to culinary school that is also a college.
Absolutely. And in the city, she may have just come up the ranks. Who knows? Um,
Because there are 4-year programs where the first two are like culinary school and then the second two are how to run a restaurant. So they're more
right.
business
So it's like a
oriented.
business. Yeah,
Which that's what she wants to do. So it does make sense.
it makes
It's just
great
never
sense.
explicitly said ever.
The first episode, oh, maybe it's the second episode where she hooks up with the wine guy.
Okay.
It takes her workplace is a place called Iridium, which is like it was a real
Yeah.
place. She's got Jennifer Lewis, Broadway star, stage and screen, just great actress who's also sharing the scene with her, talking about how she's going to go on this date with this guy.
Right.
We never see her again, and I'm sure it's just a one-off, like the second episode of Friends. She's going to walk in and do the thing and slay it and leave. But I feel like we don't
Mm-hmm.
see a whole lot of other people's workplaces. We don't see a lot of it. It's just in this one episode and that one episode. And
Well,
I
no
think it's
one
great.
actually knows what Chandler does.
He's a data processor.
Well, yes. I mean, we
Well, he's a
do, but he.
transponsterer. He's a
Yes,
transponsterer.
we do because we've actually seen him do stuff, but in universe, that's the joke.
Right. Because he went through the battery of tests, the assessments to figure out like what's he going to be good at.
Right.
And turns out he's great at data processing. He's like,
Yes.
well, and Phoebe said to the response to that was like, that's good because you already know how to do that. Uh,
Oh, Phoebe.
um, but that's a thing where like people didn't really pay close attention to what he did because he was
No.
just a worker being in an office
Right,
trying
it
to not
was
be a smoker.
right, it wasn't like Rachel where oh, she gets this cool job with Ralph Lauren or Monica we knew was a chef. Joey
Actor.
on and off actor with his role on Days of Our Lives as Dr. Drake Ramore.
Yes, Dr. Drake Ramore. And
And
also
mac and
Mac,
cheese,
mac and cheese.
which he gets kicked off because he doesn't understand that Cheese is the star of the show, the robot.
Well, he was gonna get fired, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think he smoothed it over. He smoothed it over with the robotics dude to teach him how to talk to chicks. But the thing of it was the
Yeah,
conversation with all of the gang about how bad the show
right.
um was a harbinger of like, oh, this show's going to get canceled, and it did get canceled
Yeah.
around the same time that Joey messed up with his ego. He messed up his gig on Days of Our Lives. So
Yes.
I feel like we've all been in a situation where we're like, oh, I don't need you because I've got this. And if that falls through, then you do need this. And then you have nothing,
Yeah.
whether it's a
Right.
job or friendships or whatever.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I don't need this shirt. I'm gonna donate it. I'm gonna take this one, and then that one falls apart, and then you're like, oh, I don't have either shirt.
Right. That's what always
Gift of
happens.
imagine. Yeah. Um, Ross's job as a paleontologist.
Yes.
So he
And he
talks a
also
lot about
teaches at times.
yes, yes, as an adjunct, yes. I do want to. Does he work with dinosaurs or does he work with humans? Like what? Because there's totally different. Like
I thought it was
what are
clear
you doing?
dinosaurs.
Yeah. However, he's also like in the Homo habilis like display. It's like, oh, they didn't use tools, and here they have them with pottery. And um, you totally would get fired if you woke up in the morning with your girlfriend in the exhibit with a bunch of kids. Like you totally would get fired,
Oh,
fired,
yeah.
fired, 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 fired.
And probably charged with a few things.
Yeah, like yeah,
Yeah.
that's bad times. That's like
Yeah.
in front of children and a nun. Um, and
Ross was
how
just the king
security
of bad ideas and bad decisions.
Ross is the king of bad ideas. That's absolutely right.
Like, he makes Joey look intelligent in terms of life matters. You're processing that one?
Well, you're not wrong. So Joey at least has a very strong EQ. Like he can read people because that's his job
Yes.
is the observation of human interaction and
Right. He
behavior.
doesn't need to know rocket science. He just needs to know how to portray a character.
Right. And how to be a good guy. Then
Yeah.
he's kind of a good guy.
Yeah, I mean he's not really a cad. Like, you know what you're getting into with him. He
Right.
doesn't hide that.
No. And I feel like with Ross, um, all right, here we go. Some psychology. He's got the classic golden child syndrome where he's got a fixed mindset. He's always been
Yeah.
someone who's been revered for how smart he is.
Yes.
And according to his parents, and this has been portrayed throughout the series, he could do no wrong.
Right, and Monica can't do much right.
She can't do anything right. She's gonna pull a Monica.
Oh, right.
So
That's yep.
she's
So
gonna mess it
Monica.
up. She's gonna mess.
Yeah.
And as much as we promised Dr. Rosen we wouldn't say that again, um,
We're going to say that
we're
every
gonna say
time
it.
we see her.
And she's just being a normal person doing her things.
Yeah.
Ross, however, I think has been conditioned to believe that however he behaves is fine.
Right.
Dating a student.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
tries to normalize and rationalize that, and it's like you've got nothing in common with this student.
right. Um, he we as the
It's
series goes on, we notice that he doesn't have much to do with Ben at all.
that is true, which is why he
And
has to pretend to make him a pumpkin and pretend it's
right,
his son.
right. After 9 o'clock at night
Yeah.
when you're just gonna help Rachel pack. Um, that whole back and forth with Rachel. Will
Yeah.
they, won't they stay together? If you sent a barbershop quartet to my work,
Yes.
it is over. If you if I tell you I don't have time to stop and you bring a whole picnic with the pepper grinder and it is over.
Yeah.
It's inappropriate. She would never do that to him.
Right.
Nobody would do that to anybody else. It's not happening.
No,
It's not happening.
it's not like he brought her a special lunch and it's like, I know you're busy, but you still need to eat. It's like,
Right.
let's go do all of this stuff. And it's
Start
like,
a
I don't have time.
no, don't do that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
He made Phoebe cry right before her date with Mike.
Yes.
Um, when he said to her, like, "Oh, you've never been in a long-standing relationship." Shut up, Ross.
Well, I'm blanking on his name, but one of her boyfriends did go off to Minsk.
Yes, David.
David went off to Minsk. I knew it was he's
Yes.
played by Hank Azaria. Yeah.
Yeah. Who, by the way, super talent.
Yes. So it's like, yeah, part of the reason is they keep going to other places. And then David enters the picture and wants to marry her, but Mike's already decided to, and
Because Mike didn't want to get married. And I feel like that's something that was discussed earlier, like when they had first gotten together, that he went through a terrible divorce and he didn't,
yeah.
want to really be involved that strongly with anyone.
Yeah.
The Phoebe did also date Gary for a little while. We remember police officer Gary,
Oh, right. She
Detective
stole his
Gary,
badge. Yeah, Michael Rappaport. And
Mike
he found
Rappaport.
that hot.
Yes, more so that he saw her rap sheet
Yeah.
and was like very impressed. She's like, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Um, I'm I'm grateful that they broke it off. I didn't like his character.
Yeah.
I felt that it was very pompous, and
I
that's
mean,
not a
that's kind
Phoebe
of who
match.
Michael Rappaport is in real life, if you've heard him
It's
talk.
perfect casting. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want your mustard, by the way, or your mayonnaise. I don't eat mayonnaise. He's been the pitch man for Mike's mustard. So anyway, he's not doing that
Okay.
anymore. So, no, wipe it off. Wipe it off. Anyway, the ride along episode,
Yeah.
I think with having the three guys in the car
Mm-hmm.
it also is a lot about how their dynamic is. How
Yeah.
Ross was in the front seat and he thought who the F he was.
Yes.
Um, and again, just this is Ross being an egoist. Like this is not something that's new to us,
No.
but his ego messed it up and he had to sit in the back.
Yeah. And
Um,
I know the whole show is basically will they, won't they with Ross and Rachel, but I
yes.
feel like that got played way too hard because Rachel deserves better than Ross. Ross needs to go figure himself out before he gets into another relationship. He gets 3 divorces within like the first half of this series. So like 3 divorces in 5 years. Maybe 6.
Like
Maybe it wasn't the complete first half, but
right. But still,
yeah.
I mean, the first one, can't blame him. The second one should have never happened to begin with. You meet somebody and then for the
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
They got married, what, like 2 weeks after they met?
6. Yeah. So the
Six.
first
Okay.
day they end up in Vermont for the weekend.
Okay.
She's nuts. Who does that? I'm going to fly to New York City. I'm going to meet some guy and then go to Vermont. What? There's a deer just outside eating apples in the orchard. What? What?
Were they like
This woman is
talking
insane.
online or anything before where they have a
No.
relationship? Like,
So,
oh, you're real?
no.
No.
Here's what happened. Rachel's got this job as a personal shopper
Okay.
after her assistant buyer thing fiasco.
Yeah.
Joanna got killed by a taxi cab or something. I don't know. Or bus. Anyway,
Yeah.
her boss dies. So she ends up, they eliminate her department, which no, they didn't in real life. But anyway, so she ends up being in personal shopping.
Okay.
And her boss said, my niece is coming into town. She doesn't know the city. She's about your age. Would you mind showing her around? At the same time, Rachel's like, oh, everybody, here's my non boyfriend, Joshua, who, by the
Mhm.
way, Jennifer Aniston's real life ex boyfriend, um, is the actor. So here's
Oh.
Joshua showing up, and
Okay.
she's like, no, I want to hang out with Joshua. Ross, can you please take this nice lady, this girl? I don't know who she is.
Mhm.
Can you just take her out on the town? And Ross
Yeah.
is like, why would I do you any favors? Like, you're, oh. And she's like, please. And so it's raining and there's 1,000 steps to get to the apartment and
Right.
whatever. And Emily's in a bad mood and they get her dry shoes and she's a delight, apparently. Good. Ross, you enjoy that. You enjoy
Yeah.
that. That whole premise, I feel like that's so Ross, though. Like, here's a girl
Yeah.
who likes me, who wants me, and I'm going to cling to that.
Right. And then also he says Rachel's name at the altar,
At the altar.
which like the marriage should be off then. Like do not continue. I understand that they
Right.
probably signed the marriage certificate beforehand, so they will have to go through an official divorce. But
Well, in England, I don't know how it works in
I
England.
don't
I
know
don't
how
know.
to. Yeah, I don't know either.
I know that I signed mine after, but
Oh, okay.
but you know what? The point of it is, if I'm Emily
Yeah.
and the preacher says, "Shall we continue?" Um,
No.
I say no, but she said yes. Yeah, let's continue. And so then Ra does
And
say,
it's like
Emily,
he knew, like she knew Rachel was in the picture. Like she didn't like Rachel because
I
she
who can
was
blame her?
no.
I don't
But
blame
there
her.
were so many red flags, but I think she's also a walking red flag.
Yeah,
So they just found each other.
this is the thing. When you have two red flags, they don't cancel each other out. It just becomes like neon.
Yeah.
Becomes a neon red flag. So, um, oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I don't
I'm
know where
so,
you're going.
I know that's okay. I was just really glad that Emily, her character, like ended up not continuing with the series because I did not like that dynamic. It made me feel like
No.
I was cringing. I felt like I'm watching this disaster slowly happen.
I mean,
Um,
also they should have taken it as a sign when the church where they were going to get married was knocked down.
yes,
Like that
yeah,
is
like
a sign.
if ever there was.
Yeah.
Um, the name Emily.
Mhm.
I want to talk a little bit about the name Emily.
What, like Emily
So,
and Emma? There's that
yeah,
whole problem.
well, not only that, but when Rachel, there's an episode where Ross and Rachel have started dating.
Mhm.
Ross has been in like a little, like a snuggie pack, and he says, "Here, Rachel, hold the baby." She holds the baby.
Yeah.
He's like, hold like a football. She's, this is how I hold a football. So anyway, so he says
Mhm.
to her something along the lines of, when we have our own children, you're gonna have to get more comfortable with holding a baby. She's like at work at the coffee shop. She's like in the middle of her shift.
When we have our own.
And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna move to Schenectady." Or I don't remember what he said, but we're gonna have to
Yeah.
move to where they have good taxes and a good school system and whatever. And
Yeah.
she's like she wigs out. Blame her.
No.
So
Yeah.
she like walks out of the coffee shop mid shift.
Mm-hmm.
She goes upstairs,
Yeah.
and Ross goes down the line and he says to her, like, he shows up with the baby and he's like, "Look, I think about these things. I think about our future. I think blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff." And he mentions baby names. And he says, "I think
Yeah.
if we have a daughter, her name will be Emily,"
Okay.
in that scene. And
That's before he met Emily.
yeah,
Okay.
I think this is season 2, because perhaps beginning of season 3, because Ben isn't walking yet.
Okay.
He's
I
a he's
wonder.
a shrimpy, like in a snuggie pack.
I wonder if that's intentional foreshadowing. I'm going to say probably not, because there is no foreshadowing in this show. The drama
Exactly.
and tension is will they, won't they, with various couples, and they've done every variation of who's going to get together, except for Monica and Ross for obvious
Of course,
reasons.
of course. But
Yeah.
at the very last, it's like, "You are my mystery midnight kisser."
Yeah, so they
Um,
even went there. Whoops.
to
Yeah,
which
you were in a
to
pile of
which
coats.
to pile of coats. Um,
Yeah.
right. And Chandler says, "What did I marry into?" Um,
We would all like to know that, Chandler.
oh, what did they like? At least they know who they married into, right? So your dad
Yeah.
is Kathleen Turner. Um,
Yes. Another thing that would not
Terrific
happen
casting, by
today.
the way. Terrific casting. Um,
Yeah.
love
Progressive for
her.
the time. We should point that out.
Yes, also, yes, progressive for the time. I also do want to say that we didn't get the pronoun thing right back then.
No.
We didn't we didn't we didn't get it right. So when Morgan Fairchild's character, who that's Mona, right? No,
Yeah.
no, that's not Mona.
Ross's mother.
Ross, no, Chandler's mother.
Oh, Chandler's mother. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Chandler's mother
Yes, Chandler's.
says, so Chandler's dad, Kathleen Turner, says to Morgan Fairchild,
Yes.
"Aren't you a little young for that dress?" This is at the wedding. "Aren't you a little young for that dress?"
Yes.
And then Morgan Fairchild says, "Don't you have a little too much penis for that dress?" And everybody,
Yeah.
that is the funniest burn, but also like, leave him alone. Leave him alone. This is the life that they are leading. Leave them alone.
Yes.
And there's a lot of homophobia in the show. Like,
Yes,
is
there is.
Chandler gay? Um,
Yeah, until he got
hey, I could
married,
get
that
a
was a
Brian.
thing.
I could get a Brian if I wanted to. The episode where the woman at the office is trying to hook him up with, I think it's Brian in
Yeah,
accounting.
that sounded right.
Um, what? Not even the point. The point is,
No.
it shouldn't make a difference.
No.
It shouldn't make a difference. And as someone who was working cosmetics retail at the time that the
Yeah.
show was aired, um, I was like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You're like, I had people in my chair on the sales floor at Macy's in Eatontown. Like, I don't care who you are. What do
Right.
you want? Do you want to do green eyeshadow? Or are we doing just liner? Like, what are we doing today? And many of my coworkers were like, "Oh, good for you." And I'm like, "Good for me. It's whatever. I get commission. I don't care."
Yeah.
They want to wear makeup.
It's
Okay.
a sale.
Yeah. People want to wear makeup. Guess what? Gene Simmons, full face of makeup, gets all the ladies with that big old tongue. Whatever.
Well, I mean, the tongue might have something to do with that.
All right. All these guys, loads of makeup.
Yeah.
Whatever. So the thing about the homophobia is, it's not blatant, like, I don't want to be around gay people.
Right.
But if 1 in 5 people is gay and there are 6 of them,
Yes.
um, one in the
And then
very
Rachel, the
few.
kiss.
Rachel the kiss, the coconut bra. I love that episode. I love that episode for several reasons. Not only Winona Ryder needed a comeback so
Yes.
bad. She
Was
needed to come
this
back so bad.
after she got caught robbing,
Yeah, she was shoplifting, right? And
shoplifting? Yeah, from
and
Saks
just
Fifth
the
Avenue
public
in
opinion of,
wasn't it the one in Rockefeller Center at the time?
I don't know. I don't remember where physically, geographically she was, but I know that she was shoplifting.
Right, and it was definitely New York.
And that's the thing. Like, maybe she had blown through her funds. I don't know, but
Yeah,
or maybe she just needed that rush, that dopamine. Who
could be.
knows? But the public had kind of been like, oh, on her, and I feel like she so needed a comeback. And I
Yeah.
loved that arc of that whole episode of her saying, no, 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 no,
Hmm.
that never happened. Sort of like embarrassed, but then it was like, not only did it happen, girl, you're
Yeah.
in love with me. Um,
Yeah.
whoa. So then, Phoebe kisses her. I wanted to know what all the fuss is about.
Yeah.
I love it. They're at dinner. Phoebe says that she was in Thigh Mega Tampon sorority, and Regina Phalange ruined it by alcohol poisoning, which is not funny that somebody died of alcohol poisoning. I'm just going to put that out there. That's not funny.
Right.
But when we are 19, 20 years old, we do want to show off and try to hang. And we do go a little nuts.
Also, Regina Phalange is one of Phoebe's fake names.
I love that. She uses phalange for so many things. Like, we don't have a phalange on the plane, like in the last episode. Is it the last episode or the second to last? Anyways,
And then the
um,
Princess Banana Hammock.
Princess Consuela.
Willa
Yes,
Banana
yes,
Hammock, yes.
yes. Banana hammock. And
Her names
Joey
are.
Joey is Ken Adams.
Okay.
Um, Miss Chinandler Bong.
Yes,
So
for his magazines.
there's a lot of silly things, but Ross is always Ross. It's not, we find out when he breaks his hands after trying to punch Joey, and Joey ducks, and Ross punches the
Well, Ross is probably the most serious character in the entire sitcom. Like, if he was not in a sitcom, he would just be completely, like, taking himself too seriously and
yes.
be
But
the
it's not
annoying
short for
character in a
Rossifer.
drama.
Yes. That's the cool thing is I feel like because Ross was the first role to be cast.
Right.
And I don't know that you would be able to put another actor in that role and have it executed as well. I
I
feel
don't
like
think with
Schwimmer,
any of them. Like,
yes.
it was perfect casting. And I don't think they could, like, reboot Friends.
No. No,
Like,
you can't.
they're now working on an Office spin-off reboot. I
Yes.
don't, something like that, where I'm like, why? Like, I'm not an
I heard,
Office person, but I have seen a few episodes, and it's like, if this is what you're into, this is perfect. It's been too long for a spin-off where that I feel like it's going to work, unless it's
I
like,
know that Oscar signed on. That's all I know about it. That's
and
how I
isn't he
found
a
out about it.
minor character in the original?
I the first 2 seasons probably, but
Yeah,
I
I
feel
mean,
like
not like,
it became an ensemble
right.
as the series went on. We got to see bits and pieces of just about everybody as it went on, and a little bit of their backstory, Stanley's children. But it's another episode.
Yeah,
It's another episode of the Idiot Box, so we're gonna save it for that.
there you go. Thank you.
I'll happily come on for that episode too.
Okay. Hey.
Um, but that's the cool thing about the 6 members of the Friends cast
Yes.
is that we do get to see
Mm-hmm.
their they get fleshed out as the whole entire people.
Yeah.
um we do get to see bits of their family relationships and how it's difficult to maintain a family relationship.
Right.
um
Phoebe was pretty much abandoned and raised by her grandmother.
well, not
Part of
really. She
Phoebe.
was on the street for a while, and then
Right.
she moved in with, we don't know what happened where she moved in with her grandmother, because she was living with Monica prior to the start of the series, right? So that's her
Right.
backstory.
Yeah.
And then she moved in with her grandmother. And I feel like it was to help her grandmother, but also she needs to live in a land where people can spill.
Yeah.
um but we do see that she has a very strained relationship with her sister, and it's kind of sad.
Yes.
um but it's also like, that's the way things happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Joey's got a gaggle of sisters,
We don't see them
which
that
we
often.
no, we don't. We see the whole cluster at a party that happens at the apartment, and
And
then later
Chandler
on,
gets it
because
on with one of them.
he starts making out with one of them. Yes, Mary Therese. My
And
God, why do I
can't
have,
remember
which
which one.
wrinkle of brain did I pull that one out of? Right. So then he goes to the house and they're eating tiramisu.
Yeah.
And then one of the younger sisters comes over because she's pregnant. But
Okay.
we don't, that's it. We don't
Yeah.
get to find out any of that. Um, Chandler's an only child.
Yes.
Um, and then of course there's Ross and Rachel.
Yeah.
So we do get to see a little bit of their family life.
You mean Ross and
Um,
Monica?
what did I say? Rachel?
Yeah. I mean,
I
we
guess
do
we're
get
just
to
so
see
used to
their
saying
family
Ross and
life.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Um, so the episode where they go to the grandmother's funeral
Yeah.
is, I feel like that's really enlightening about how different families deal with death.
Yeah.
Um, and Monica said, like, kind of hints to her mom, like, wouldn't you just tell your mother that you're, stop criticizing me,
Mhm.
cut it out? Like, that was very undercover way of saying, like,
Yeah.
do you not realize you do the same thing to me? Um, and it continued throughout the whole series,
Of course it did.
including you pulled a Monica.
Yeah.
And we spent your wedding
On a cruise or something like that.
yeah, the beach house, whatever. We
Oh
spent
yeah,
your
the
wedding
beach
funds on the
house.
beach house. um my watch keeps going off. I'm just gonna take it. Just take it off. You
Yeah.
don't need these notifications.
I can't hear it, so you're good.
Okay, it was distracting me. Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Try to talk about Friends.
And then there's so much about Friends to talk about. Do you want to go
Okay,
into the supersized episodes since we only have unless we're going to talk about this for hours
we totally
or
can, but I don't want to. Yeah, let's not do that.
yeah.
The supersize episodes. Tell me what you want to, or which ones
So
are you talking about?
so there was a period of time on NBC where Jeff Zucker was in charge. Jeff Zucker is infamous for making horrible decisions, tons of them involving Conan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, Conan.
Do you remember Jeff Zucker at all, or you didn't really
I
follow?
don't I don't really know that I was aware of like what was going on, you
Okay.
know, behind the camera.
So Jeff
Yeah.
Zucker got his start in news. He became the producer of the Today Show, worked his way up, and somehow became head of the entertainment division, which he was completely unqualified for because he was a
Oh,
news guy. And he decided, oh, we're having a hard time getting new hits. Let's take the shows on Thursdays and make them longer. So instead of 30 minutes, it would become 40 minutes, which really
I don't
just
like that. I don't like that.
ended up being more commercials.
All right.
I don't
Okay.
even think if you're watching them on Nick at Night, you know which ones were originally 40 minutes.
Right.
I think it ended up maybe 3 minutes of extra time, and Nick at Night speeds them up anyway.
Right.
Um, so that is how we ended up with supersized episodes of Friends. I think there might be a few of Will and Grace. I'm not sure. That might have escaped it. But he was just trying to milk the most profitable and the biggest shows of that time for more money.
Sure.
Which, of course, drove the writers crazy because, one, sitcoms are meant for the 30-minute duration.
Right.
Two, like that extra time isn't really enough to add more story. It's just adding 2 pages of fluff and making
Yeah.
sure you hit the joke beats. Um, so there really was no purpose other than attempting to make NBC more money.
You can't blame a guy. I mean,
You can't.
they already have us watching it. So for another 10 minutes, we're probably going to be watching, the show that comes on after.
It was
Anyhow.
also to prevent you from switching over to another channel because you're now 10 minutes into whatever show's airing on CBS. Like, it was all part of that game, whereas now it doesn't matter because you have a DVR or, like, okay, fine,
Right.
I'm just going to go watch Netflix. I
Right.
don't think I
Daddy,
watched.
I got TiVo. And that's slang for pregnant, right? So we all, like, if you could afford it, you got a TiVo.
Right.
Well, you know what? I'll watch this now. And then when it's on reruns later in the summertime, it's not going to be 40 minutes. So
Right.
like I said, I was working retail, so many times I was scheduled for Thursday nights and I missed it, and I would be very sad.
Okay.
But I would set my VCR
Yes.
and I would watch. Oh my God, I'm so old. I would set my VCR, which by the
I
way,
was
setting the
doing that
VCR took like
also.
half a day. Yeah. Um,
You first had to get it
but
off of midnight.
and it would be blinking, and like if you lost power for half a second. Anyway,
Yes.
um, so I do remember now you're mentioning the 40 minutes. I do remember missing the last 10 minutes or the last bit of whatever. It
Yeah.
would be like extra Kleenex commercials or like dog chow or whatever.
Yeah. It's not like the last episode, which was an hour, which sitcoms
On
tend to have.
purpose.
Right, they tend to have hour-long finales if it was an extremely popular show. Or a two-part finale that they usually air in one night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, like Third Rock from the Sun, I remember my mom letting me stay up late on a school night to watch it because that was one of my favorite shows.
That was a great show. That was a
Yes.
really great show.
Yeah, that's a show that doesn't get enough love.
I think Jane Curtin does get enough love.
That is true.
She is phenomenal
Yeah.
beyond description.
And let's go back to Friends,
Yes.
those Thanksgiving episodes, which were well known.
What is your favorite Thanksgiving episode?
Probably the one where the trifle and the shepherd's pie get mixed up. And this is a classic
That's a good
Friends
one.
moment where it's like, this tastes like feet. And Joey's like the only one enjoying it.
What's not to like? Jam, good. Custard, good. Beef, good.
Yeah. And then there's the one where Brad Pitt shows up.
Yes. Yes,
Which,
the I Hate Rachel Club.
yeah, which is less funny now that they're divorced and things
I
happened.
you know what? You say that, but I think it's funnier
Okay.
because the portrayal of the contempt, I feel like you're portraying like the like you could see where that might be delivered in real life, you know.
Okay.
She's playing a pregnant woman
Yeah.
who's pregnant by somebody else.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to reach that far to be like, what's my motivation for this character? He doesn't have to reach that
Right.
far.
No.
Um, my favorite is the football episode,
I had a
the
feeling you
Geller
were
Cup.
going to go there. Yes. Yes, the Geller Cup.
The competition, like bunny up, like who's going to be the captain, the competition of who's going to be on which team. Um,
And
the
doesn't Phoebe,
competition,
who doesn't know what she's doing, end up winning the game for her team?
yes, because nobody touched her, nobody tackled her, so
Right.
she figured it out. There are so many like little bits that I want to talk about that particular episode.
Okay, go
The
for it.
Joey and Chandler competing for the blonde lady who is just walking around in the
Oh,
park.
yes. And then
Um,
they completely end up turning her off because they're saying and doing ridiculous things.
because they're being turkeys, right? Like they're just being jerks to each
Yeah.
other. And who knows where Holland is and who knows where the Netherlands is, and by the way, the same thing.
Right. Well, yes, but no.
Yes, but
Holland
no.
is part of the Netherlands.
Yes. Thank you for that correction. Girl, I love it. You always keep me on my P's and Q's. But so she's Danish, and so they were having
Yeah.
that whole thing. Um
Which is
Phoebe's wearing
Denmark. If she's Danish,
Denmark.
it's Denmark.
She's from Denmark,
Netherlands would
which
be
is the
Dutch.
Netherlands. Maybe she's Dutch. I'm gonna watch that episode again because I
All
don't
right.
remember. You must be right because
Someplace in
geography was
Scandinavia.
never my strong suit. I don't have strong suits. I have swimsuits.
Okay.
Um, so
So
yeah,
that
so
the
Phoebe's wearing a
football episode.
shirt
Yep.
that says that girl from the
Okay.
TV show That
Yes.
Girl, starring
Marlo
Marlo
Thomas.
Thomas, thank you, who ends up being the actress that plays Rachel's mom. So I feel like that's super meta.
Okay.
Phoebe also flashes Chandler,
Right. The
and
thing
he's
with Friends.
mesmerized.
The thing with Friends is you never know what's intentional and what's something the writers just forgot to have for continuity purposes.
Yeah,
Like there's not much here where I'm like, oh, that was intentional.
you know what? That's true. Um, that's
It's
true.
not like, Breaking Bad or any drama where it's like foreshadowing and this, that, the other thing. Like I don't know if the Friends cast and crew knew that they were ever going to have another season because it was so popular, the salaries were getting out of control. Then, like,
Yes,
by the fourth or fifth season, they realized, oh, we're all equals. We should all be getting the same amount of money. It's the first show where all the leads got over $1 million per episode.
I feel like that was after the. I feel like that negotiation of everybody's getting the same pay took place after the first season when they got renewed.
I think it
I
took 2 or 3 seasons before they're like, wait a minute, you're getting like triple me and then of what I'm making. It
okay, well,
wasn't
okay.
right away. I
I'm
think they
remembering
also
it differently
first
than you are.
I think
Yeah.
they first had to learn to trust each other, and I don't think they realized that they were making different amounts.
I remember Schwimmer said that it was they were all, I guess they were all thinking it, but he must have verbalized like it wouldn't be, I think it's important that we all hang out together outside of work, that we
Okay.
all really know each other and trust each
Yeah.
other and like go to dinner together or come over the house or whatever it was.
Right.
And I I know that without trusting your scene partner,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to portray the trust genuinely. You
Right.
could be like, "Oh yeah,
They're still all friends in real life. Like they may not be going to each other's house for barbecues every day, but they are the type of friends where if they pick up the phone and call, they can
Yes.
have a conversation.
Yes. I
It
know
can
that
be a year, but it's still
you're gonna
going to
pick
be
right
a
up where you left off.
yes.
Absolutely. I remember during COVID lockdown, um, that the three girls kind of bubbled together.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know if any of the boys were able to do that, but I know that they bubbled. Sequester. What did we use? I say bubbled. I don't know what other people call it, but
I mean,
we're just
we
like
all had our
together.
bubbles. Yeah,
Yeah.
sequestered together, bubbles. It's all
Um,
the same thing.
yeah. I feel like that's
It was a
true
good time
to
to be Jackbox games.
see, and I never played a Jackbox game until January, just this January at the retreat. So, huh, that's fun.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, they're
hey, you know
okay.
what? Everybody did the thing they did. Everybody did
Yeah,
the thing they did. Everybody did the thing they did. And I think that's great because you did see that these six people, we do see them over the span of 10 years
yeah,
evolving into full-blown grown-ups.
yes,
Into full like it's one thing like you're old enough to vote and have your own place, but like to be a full-blown grown-up, that's a whole nother layer.
yes, it is.
Um, so I like that we got to watch how priorities shifted
Yes,
for each of them. I am very sad that Rachel didn't go to Paris,
yeah, she,
but
that
people make the
was,
decisions they make.
yes. And I think realistically, that is one her character probably would make because her and Ross are not good for each other, but neither one of them wants to admit that.
This is, I feel like, they tried so hard to make it work and they tried so hard to remain friends. They tried so hard
Yeah,
um for all of the other different reasons and why didn't I get that phone message and like
yeah,
all that stuff. But again, I feel like Rachel purposefully didn't want to settle for Barry.
yeah,
And I feel like she's like, well, I already have a kid with this guy. I'm going, to settle for New York. I'm going to settle for Ross.
yes,
And it's regretful. She should not have gone to England because that marriage was doomed anyway. He was
right,
not going to stay married to Emily.
yeah,
Um, and I feel that Phoebe being left alone in the apartment so close to her due date and clearly not caring for the birds because
yeah.
she shouldn't have been
And
anyways.
Phoebe was pregnant with triplets that were her brother's triplets, and he was giving,
That's
having
you know,
children
we didn't
with
even talk about that.
Kitty, Kitty from that '70s show.
Yes, yes, Mrs. Knight, her
Yeah.
character, Alice. Uh, so Giovanni Ribisi,
Okay.
fantastic, fantastic. In an earlier episode
Mhm.
of the series, Phoebe is on the street singing her songs right
Yeah.
outside of Central Park, and
Okay.
somebody tipped her a condom in her guitar case.
Yeah.
That actor comes running back, say, "Hey, did I drop a condom in here?" She's like, "Yeah, here you go." And he runs off and he says, "Honey, I got it, Angela, whatever. I got it." That's
Mhm.
Giovanni Ribisi. But we don't know that he's going to be invited back to play her brother. So I
Got
feel
it.
like that's really funny because if we were to look through it through a different lens, it totally, absolutely could have been your brother, but you didn't know.
That is true. Especially like Phoebe has a brother, a sister that I don't know how much she knew about either one of them. Her sister, I don't think she found out about until she was already an adult.
You mean Ursula?
Yeah, Ursula.
No, they grew up together.
Wait, they
But then
did
when
grow up
when
together?
yes, but when
Okay.
when their mom killed herself,
Yeah.
then they split off because they had no reason to be.
Got it.
around each other. Phoebe does talk about how poor they were growing up and how their stepdad used the box of one of the neighbor girls' bicycles
Okay.
to drag them around the yard
Got
because they didn't have a bicycle. Phoebe didn't have a bicycle, so Ross bought her the bicycle, and
right, and it had a basket and pink
that that
ribbons,
whole
the whole
that
thing.
whole to do. Never taught her how she didn't learn how to ride the bike, and then Ross let go while she was while she was learning.
Yeah.
Again, Ross, get it together. Know
Yeah.
your audience.
Yeah.
Phoebe has trust issues. Knock it off.
That is true.
I
Is
could talk
there
to you for hours about
I
it.
know, I know. We probably should wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say before I
The
close
wardrobe.
this up?
I want to really quick. I want to talk about the wardrobe.
Okay.
So everything old is new again. People are
Yes.
wearing the clothes again. Um Matthew Perry's weight, we mentioned that a little earlier with his addiction issues,
Yes.
fluctuating.
Yes.
There is a bright orange sweater that at one point each of the guys wear. A bright orange sweater. It is
Okay.
like it's not salmon. I like that people in wardrobe are like, we're just gonna this aside, it's this particular size. Like whoever is gonna wear it, it's gonna wear it.
Yeah.
Um, Rachel, always a fashion maven.
Right.
Monica goes from why are you wearing that on national TV to oh, that's a really cute outfit.
Okay.
Phoebe with the wigs. Phoebe with the wigs. Um, so
The
there's the
wig.
episode where it's like, what if I'd never, what if this never happened? What if that never happened? What if I stayed with Barry? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
When Phoebe is the stockbroker
Mhm.
and she's got that straight like bob kind of
Yeah.
cut, that's her real hair. That is Lisa Kudrow's real hair.
The Bob,
Yeah,
the stockbroker. I did not
the
realize that.
stockbroker. That's her real hair.
How do you know that?
So because I know that. I don't know why I know that, but I do. But so they always had her in like wigs, always with the wigs. And there are
Right.
times when you can totally see the lace front, and there are times when you're like, oh, that could totally be her hair. But
Okay.
it's like,
I was not watching that
but it's like
closely.
pulling away from the back. It's
Yeah.
so but the thing is that it's not if you're not like watching for it, you don't really notice it. And so the hair
Yeah.
and wig and costuming departments were fantastic. The makeup
Yeah.
was great because you hardly even knew that, maybe she's trying a different shade of rouge, like you didn't
Yeah.
know. Um, so that's what the makeup's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But though I loved how they use the wardrobe from like different shows. I've seen episodes of Gilmore Girls. My husband's aunt has dementia, and that's one of her fixations is Gilmore Girls.
Mhm.
And I've seen Lorelai wear the same outfit that Monica was wearing.
Oh wow.
I've like it's so funny because like they're clearly on the same lot, like filming around the same time.
Yeah, they're both Warner Brothers shows.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, we're gonna put this outfit on this character. Um, and
Yeah.
so I love that. Um, oh, I could go on. I could really like the fashion of Friends.
Yes.
Anyways, I
That's the
love
book
chatting
you're
with you.
going
Thank you very
to
much.
contribute to the litany of Friends books.
Um, yeah, maybe, maybe. I mean, if I could get, 2 seconds together to like actually get some focus and like write things down.
Yeah.
I, I'm not that kind of girl. I mean, I want to be. I want to be cool, but I'm a has-been, so that's not going to happen for
Oh,
me. That's all
no.
right. That's okay.
No,
Because you
don't
know what?
say
I get to
that.
chat about fun things and then be like, oh, that was fun.
Okay. Well, thank you, but don't say you're a
Yeah.
has been. And
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
So thank you, Stacy, for joining me today and discussing Friends.
Thank you, Allison, for having me on.
And until next time, this is Allison Lips for Greetings from the Idiot Box. Remember, television is a medium, neither rare nor well done. Bye.